The programming. Imagine finding out you've been programmed to be addicted since childhood, that billions of dollars have been invested to hack your brain without you even knowing it, and that the one thing you use most every day was specifically designed to be impossible to put down. Well, that's exactly what has happened to Generation Z. 80% of young people in Gen Z admit to having an unhealthy relationship with their phones. In the US, the average is terrifyingly high. It's like a young person spends the majority of their waking hours glued to a screen every single day. No breaks, no vacations. And here's the most chilling part. This is not an accident. As Cal Newport states in Digital Minimalism, people don't succumb to screens because they are lazy, but because billions of dollars have been invested to make that outcome inevitable. I'm going to make you understand how your mind was hijacked, why your brain can't resist your cell phone, and most importantly, what this is doing to an entire generation. Think about it. When was the last time you went 24 hours without looking at your phone? It's hard to even remember, right? Now, imagine someone locked you in a white room, no windows, no distractions, and said, "You'll only get out of here when you can go a whole day without touching your phone." How many hours could you last? The kicker is, it's not just you. It's an entire generation that feels literally anxious just thinking about being disconnected. But how did we get here? Who programmed your brain to miss something that didn't even exist 20 years ago? The slot machine in your pocket. Think with me. You pick up your phone, swipe your finger across the screen like pulling a lever, and you wait for something good to happen. Sometimes you get a cool message, sometimes you get a like, sometimes nothing. But because you never know when you'll hit the jackpot, your brain stays in a constant, almost inexplicable state of expectation. Adam Alter explains this in his book, Irresistible. Using social media is a little bit like taking a drug. As far as your brain is concerned, it's a very similar experience. The reason is because there's no guarantee you'll get likes on your posts. And it's the unpredictability of that process that makes it so addictive. The difference is that while in a casino you have to go there and spend money, your digital slot machine is always with you, free, in your pocket, and programmed to be infinite. The infinite feed isn't a bug, it is intentional design. It was purposely engineered to never end, so you never reach a natural endpoint to stop. Have you ever noticed how hard it is to stop scrolling even when you're not seeing anything interesting? Have you tried counting how many times you pick up your phone without even knowing why? Well, this is where things get even darker. The war for your attention. In case you haven't realized, there is a war for your attention happening right now. The biggest minds in Silicon Valley, engineers who graduated from Stanford, Harvard, MIT, are not working to solve world hunger. They are working to figure out how to make you spend just 30 more seconds scrolling the feed. Neuroimaging studies show something terrifying related to this. Using social media activates the same neural circuits as addictive substances, where the dopamine being released into the reward system creates tolerance and withdrawal symptoms in you. Researcher Larry Rosen identified that Gen Z has developed what he calls I disorder, a set of psychological symptoms associated with excessive digital technology use. But the problem goes far beyond what you imagine. Gen Z is the first human generation to be exposed from birth to systems designed to addict. All previous generations had a normal childhood. They played outside, talked face to face, and got bored sometimes. But Gen Z hasn't. Unfortunately, this generation has become the guinea pig for an unprecedented global experiment. Research shows that thousands of adolescents, after 2012 when smartphones became popular, had radical changes in mental health, with a dramatic increase in anxiety, depression, and compulsive behaviors. Jia Teng, in his research on anxiety and depression in adolescents, observed that after just 1 hour of daily screen time, each additional hour is progressively associated with lower curiosity, less self-control, greater difficulty making friends, and lower emotional stability. And with that, I ask you, can you imagine what your life would be like if you had grown up without this constant pressure of likes, stories, and notifications? Let us know in the comments. The fragmentation of the mind. Remember when you could watch an entire movie without picking up your phone? Could read a book for hours? Could have a deep conversation with someone without feeling the urge to check your phone or social media? That didn't disappear because you changed. It disappeared because your attention capacity was constantly fragmented. Cal Newport calls this solitude deprivation, a state where you spend almost zero time alone with your own thoughts. And this is catastrophic for development. To give you an idea of how significant the impact is, studies show that children exposed to more screen time show physical problems like headaches and posture issues, behavioral problems like temper tantrums and social difficulties, attention problems with symptoms similar to ADHD, and other psychological issues like anxiety, depression, and stress. And the cruelest part of all, the more you try to multitask, like studying with your phone next to you or working with notifications turned on, the worse it gets, because your mind never gets the chance to dive deeply into anything. But why does this happen specifically to Gen Z? The adolescent brain is the perfect target. There is a reason why Gen Z was the most affected, and that is the maturation time of brain development. The adolescent brain has specific characteristics that make it extremely susceptible to digital addiction. Prefrontal cortex is not fully developed. This is the area responsible for impulse control, planning, and decision-making. It's like having the accelerator of a Formula One car but the brakes of a bicycle. The reward system is hyperactive. During adolescence, the brain is especially sensitive to dopamine, making any reward more intense and more addictive. The need for social approval is at an all-time high. Social media exploits exactly this, turning likes and comments into social validation day after day. As Adam Alter explains in Irresistible, preteens and teens are at a greater risk of social media addiction because their developmental stages make them more susceptible to this reward feedback loop. But tell me, can you imagine how different things would be if these technologies had arrived when your brain was already fully developed? It's worth reflecting on that. The Addiction Recipe, Adam Alter's 6 ingredients. And now for a very dark part of this addictive generation. Everyone behind these algorithms knows exactly what they are doing. Adam Alter identified the 6 ingredients in his book Irresistible that make technological experiences nearly impossible to resist. Appealing goals that are always just out of reach, reaching more followers, more views, being the next viral sensation. Positive, irresistible, and unpredictable feedback, likes, comments, and shares that arrive at random times. A sense of progress that increases slowly, the number of views on stories. Tasks that gradually become more difficult, algorithms that show you increasingly stimulating content. Strong social connection, the fear of missing connections with people. FOMO, fear of missing out, the social pressure to always be present. Elements of competition, the constant comparison with others and the search for external validation. Now, if you think all of this was invented from scratch, you're wrong. In fact, the people behind this just took an old discovery and turbocharged it with technology. In the 1950s, B.F. Skinner put rats in boxes and discovered intermittent reinforcement, which is nothing more than rewards that appear unpredictably. It is the most addictive stimulus that exists. The engineers at Big Tech probably looked at this experiment and thought, what if we put billions of people in these invisible boxes? That's what the infinite feed does to you. And that's what the unexpected notification triggers in your mind. Every scroll, every swipe, every vibration in your pocket is a mini Skinner box that you carry around 24 hours a day. Now, do you understand why it's so hard to resist all of this? And why the difficulty in leaving this limbo isn't a lack of willpower? The keys to unlocking the digital prison. The first step to freedom is recognizing that you are trapped in this. Remember the Matrix? Neo only escapes after he realizes he's living in an illusion. It's the same with digital addiction. While you think you're just relaxing or getting informed, you are being systematically manipulated. Cal Newport proposes the concept of digital minimalism, a philosophy in which you focus your online time on a small number of carefully selected activities that truly support your values and consciously abandon everything else. But it's not just about deleting apps. It's about understanding that you are facing the most sophisticated manipulation system ever created in human history. And the first symptom that you are starting to break free is when you perceive the difference between using technology intentionally versus being used by it. When you open Instagram for a specific thing versus when you just take a peek and 2 hours later you're still there. Can you identify the difference between when you use the technology and when it uses you? Tell us in the comments. We want to know how you deal with this. If it has seemed until now that you are stuck in a digital matrix with no way out, now I will show you the keys that can unlock this prison. These are not loose theories. They are research-proven strategies. The 30-day reset. Think of this as a reset for your mind. Just as a food fast cleanses the body, this period cleanses your brain of overstimulation. It's the time needed to relearn how to feel pleasure in simple things, without needing the next notification. Tech-free zones. Visualize your bedroom as a sacred space, where the door is closed and the phone stays outside. The impact of this on sleep quality is massive, and sleep is the foundation of mental health, focus, and even mood. Swap passive consumption for creation. Instead of endlessly scrolling, imagine playing an instrument, writing down ideas, painting, cooking. Every creative act is like giving oxygen back to your brain instead of sucking energy out of it. Redesign your notifications. Think of notifications as little pickpockets. Every time it vibrates, it steals a piece of your attention. Turning off what is not essential is like locking the door of your house against invisible invaders. Your attention is your most precious asset. Stop giving it away for free. Use Skinner to your advantage. Yes, the same principle that was used against you can be reversed. Create small rewards for habits that matter. Studying, working out, reading. You reprogram your brain to associate pleasure with what builds your life, not what destroys it. And here is the most important point. You and Gen Z have something no previous generation had, the chance to consciously choose a different relationship with technology. This doesn't mean rejecting the digital world. It means turning the tables, using technology as a tool instead of being used as a product. When you consciously control your relationship with technology, instead of being controlled by it, you discover that you are capable of deep focus, being more creative, having more meaningful relationships, and, paradoxically, being happier with fewer stimuli. Gen Z is the first digital native generation that grew up inside a system of algorithms designed to addict. Algorithms that function like portable casinos, activating the same circuits in the brain as drugs. This is the new Gen Z addiction. It doesn't need a chemical substance, just a screen. And now that you understand this, what will be your first action to reclaim control of your own mind? Leave it in the comments. Your answer can inspire thousands of people to start this transformation with you. And remember, you don't have to walk this path alone. There is the Dopamine Reservoir, the largest community for applied neuroscience to behavior and mental health. There are thousands of people who, just like you, decided to change and discovered that doing it in community makes the process lighter and much more possible. If this video opened your eyes, hit the like button, subscribe to the Lovecraftian Psychology channel, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. See you in the next video.